Just a couple of days ago, a new coin just dropped. It is known as ApeCoin. It is the coin that is synonymous with the Bored Ape NFT community. It was actually airdropped to people who hold Bored Apes or Mutant Ape NFTs. So in this video, I'm going to tell you about some of the interesting things about this coin, and is it actually going to be the future of Web3 economics, or at least a proof of concept for something in the future. And as I've been doing some research on Twitter about it, could it also be an illegal, unregistered security? Well, in this video, I'm going to talk about what the price action was for ApeCoin, what it could potentially be in the future, what their plans are for, and if it's something that you might want to look into. Hey everyone, my name is Randy. Welcome back to the Late Night Grind. And right now on this channel, I'm covering cryptocurrency news, investment markets, and personal finance. So if any or all these topics interest you, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join the Late Night Grind community. Also, don't forget to hit that bell notification icon so that YouTube will send you a notification when I release a new video. And if you're feeling generous, I'd appreciate it if you do two things. Smash the thumbs up button and watch this video all the way to the end. Those are the two best things you can do to support a YouTube channel. So if you do that, I'd greatly appreciate it. All right, guys, let's jump into it. So ApeCoin, you knew it was coming ever since the Bored Ape NFTs just literally exploded on the OpenSea platform and started selling for hundreds of thousands, some for millions of dollars worth of Ethereum. And it has since spawned a whole new medium or genre of interesting concepts built around the Bored Ape concept. Now, a lot of these seem to be money grabs, but this one in particular was actually built by some of the founders by the Bored Ape NFTs. It's now a culture, it's now a foundation, it's now a business, it's now what they call the future of Web3 economics. Well, is it actually going to be that, or maybe just a proof of concept? Well, let's take a look at what they're going to be doing. So ApeCoin is a governance token at its heart, which means if you own ApeCoin, you'll essentially get a vote, and the rest of the community, anybody who holds ApeCoin, will get a vote in the direction that they want ApeCoin to go, and not specifically talking about the token, but actually what it could be used for in other purposes. Now, right now, what they're talking about is having it be a big part of things like metaverse applications, gaming applications, and of course, NFT applications. Using the ApeCoin token in this native ecosystem essentially brings some value to the coin as in and of itself. However, it does have some value simply because being airdropped to NFT holders or the Bored Ape NFT holders also brings value to that, because the name itself and the organizations itself simply have value, or at least perceived value. That's why when you do airdrops like this and you see some crazy price action going on, well, it's because it has value, but at the same time, there's people that want to liquidate and cash out and take some of that value elsewhere. So it's a very community-focused token, or at least that's what they want it to be. So it's a governance token, like I mentioned, but it's also a utility token. Once you hit that, once you can start using it inside of applications, inside of the metaverse and inside gaming applications, it's going to be used, and it can be used and will probably be built out to be used in many different applications other than just a cryptocurrency. Even on the ApeCoin website, the first thing it says when you get there is that ApeCoin is for the Web3 economy. Web3 is being synonymous with what the Ethereum Foundation has been trying to build out for several years, or at least attempt to. But then you have guys like Jack Dorsey, the former CEO of Twitter, the CEO of cryptocurrency company Block, who was basically bashing Web3 before, saying it's basically just a bunch of venture capitalists trying to build out a centralized organization. Is it really decentralized? Well, I'll leave that one to the technology forensics, but in the meantime, there's going to be projects like this popping up all the time, and a lot of them are going to have a lot of great utility. Now, I have seen a couple of comments about ApeCoin being an illegal unregistered securities offering. And it wasn't met with that much engagement on Twitter, but I thought that was very interesting, especially for this channel in which I cover the Ripple versus the SEC case. There's a lot of that kind of talk going around about what's a security, what's not a security in the cryptocurrency world. Sometimes the gray area is an extremely large chunk of that conversation. And I think by and large, the reason for that kind of discussion is because of the tokenomics of what ApeCoin is showing. Now, it did an airdrop to, like I said, NFT holders, the Bored Ape and the Mutant Ape NFT holders. But what it's also doing is doing continued airdrops for the next 48 months. Approximately 62% of its tokens are being held by the ApeCoin DAO, which is a decentralized organization, and that treasury is what is holding most of the rest of the tokens, not all of them. They're going to be doing airdrops over the next 48 months. Approximately 7.5 million ape coins will be unlocked every single month for the next 48 months. And just that in and of itself is going to lead you to believe, well, what's that going to do for the price action? Is that actually going to stabilize the price a little bit more? Or is it going to create a little bit of sell pressure knowing that there's going to be constantly new ape coins unlocked and there being additional liquidity in that market? It's just something to think about, especially if you're trading it. And then, of course, you have a certain percentage, what they say is going to charity, another percentage going to the developers, the launch founders, the original founders of ApeCoin, and things like that, which that's nothing new. In the cryptocurrency world, there's going to be a lot of blockchain projects that do something similar. But one of the things that I always have in mind is when somebody talks about this being a security, well, what are they doing in order to actually build out that infrastructure? Are they actually selling ApeCoin to build out this metaverse gaming application ecosystem on the Ethereum network, or is it not? Now that's something that we're not privy to, at least not yet, but as it stands, it's still a good question to have. Now, if you're talking about sales on secondary markets, on exchanges and things like that, I think you're perfectly fine. But again, this is not financial advice or legal advice. This is for information only. All right, so let's talk about the price action and what it actually did when the airdrop began on the 16th. And what it did is not out of the ordinary. So from what I saw, it launched at approximately some of the exchanges say it launched at around $20 to $30. I even saw places say it was selling as high as $40 when the airdrop first happened. But immediately it plunged to about $6. It recovered then about a day later, so to about $17, $18. And as it stands right now when I'm making this video, it's about $10.20. Now that's a 75% drop if it was in fact trading for $40 at the outset. But that's not anything new, even in the cryptocurrency world and even in the legacy stock world. If you remember when Facebook went IPO, it launched at right around $35 to $40 and it instantly crashed to about $10 to $12. And it stayed there for not just several days, but for several weeks. But then, of course, it recovered and continued to climb, and the rest is kind of history as it hit its peak of almost $350, at least before the whole not enough earnings and meta debacle. But nonetheless, when you see airdrops like this, you're always going to see crazy price action, and it's usually to the downside. It's basically those in the stock trading world, what they call impatient money traveling to the patient people. It's obviously way too brand new to figure out what kind of price action it's going to have in the future because there's so many things that are going to affect the price. Now, is it going to climb back up to $40 in the next couple of weeks? I'm kind of doubting it, and here's why. They haven't had these applications built out yet. They're not in any kind of use. There's a lot of teaser trailers as far as what's going on and what ApeCoin is going to be used for, but they're not here yet. The other reason is that is this actually going to be tied to Bitcoin? Like most of the crypto world, when Bitcoin goes up and down, most of the others do as well, at least within a few percentage. Now, there are some things that are decoupled and don't exactly trade like Bitcoin, and these typically involve DeFi applications, nodes, for example, that don't exactly trade up and down with Bitcoin, at least not all the time. Is this something that's going to be trading up and down with Bitcoin, or is it going to be completely decoupled because A, it is an ERC20 token, which means it runs on the Ethereum network, and B, well, can you really even use it yet? And especially since the airdrops just started and it has a full 48 months for the rest of these airdrops to actually hit the market, what's going to be going on? So at a $10 price, what's it going to be doing in the near future? Nobody knows. And if they tell you they know, they're lying. But in the meantime, this is one of the more unique projects that I've seen hit the crypto world in a long time. Something with not just utility, not just governance, and not just something new and shiny, but something that actually has a big name behind it. The Bored Ape community is essentially trying to be its own culture on Web3. So whether or not you believe in Web3 and that's going to be the future, or whether you think Web3 is actually just another controlled, centralized ecosystem that gives the perception of decentralization, I'll leave that one up to you. That's not what this channel is about. But I did want to bring ApeCoin to your attention because right now it is kind of taking the cryptocurrency world by storm. So if you do want to follow along with this story, along with many others in the crypto world, don't forget to subscribe to the Late Night Grind community. You can also follow me on Twitter. There's a link in the description below. You can follow me on Twitter. Also, I did want to bring to your attention a story that I want to cover that's related to ApeCoin on my next video, and it involves someone who in a matter of seconds turned a $1 million profit using ApeCoin without actually holding any ApeCoin. I'm going to tell you how they did it. It's pretty crazy. All right, guys, that's it for today's video. I really appreciate you watching all the way to the end, for smashing that thumbs up button, and as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.